taking me an opportunity to be present on this event and to present you my report of the topic, the Ukrainian Army's experience in countering Russian aggression. To defeat the enemy, which has a significant advantage in means of air attack, missiles, artillery, and other weapons, the Army's military formations are Some officers from the beginning of the aggression said that if you want to be successful, plan your action differently that the status says, because its provision unknown to the enemy. And large areas of operations and limited forces prompt the search for effective courses of action for small tactical groups, which are still used today to counter the enemy. Thanks to international cooperation, the basic principles of military art, which are observed by the armed forces of NATO members countries, were studied and laid down in domestic documents. Also, the introduction of the principles of mission command played an important role in achieving superiority over the enemy in matters of the command and control system effectiveness. Currently, there are still some inconsistencies in domestic approaches and NATO standards regarding the determination of the commander's intent, the structure and content of operational orders or mission orders, and the risk management system need to be improved. At the initial stage of the defense operation, in almost all operational areas, Army formation in cooperation with other security and defense forces components performed identical tasks, namely blocking the enemy, prevention of advancement in depth, defeating the enemy who penetrated the defense, and restoring the position along the front edge, like carrying out counterattacks. Thanks to the achieved actions of mobile fire group and counterattacks, it was possible to effectively implement several principles of war, such as offensive maneuvers, surprise, and others. Since the enemy's forces were significant and the initial stage, it was impossible to block his action in front of the forward line of armed troops. The troops had to conduct one of the types of retrograde operations, like delay. In domestic doctrines, this is one of the maneuverable defense types. They often talk about a new type of defense that is written about in field manuals. This is a focal defense that small units like company or a platoon conduct in battle position prepared for a secular defense, the so-called defense nodes. Yes, which are dispersed at a great distance from each other and cover only the important directions of the enemy's probable actions. After blocking the enemy in front of the final phase line, and an important task was push his forces away from important administrative center to ensure the safety of civilians, critical facilities, etc. Counterattacks proved to be effective, not only those conducted by small tactical groups, but also skillfully designed the brigades and the regiments level of offensive operations. And today, thanks to the combination of offensive action in one direction with offensive action in another directions, clear synchronization of operations between neighboring units, army formation together with airborne assault forces, units of the territorial defense, National Guard, and others are liberating our land from the invaders step by step. But commanders and soldiers again experience not only on the battlefield, but also during the educational process. A powerful Soviet school remained in Ukraine, which continued to function for many years until 2014 and even beyond. Since the 1990s, a small number of personnel have been trained in parallel with NATO partners. Military personnel have participated in international exercises, peacekeeping operations, and etc. But this was not enough to fundamentally change the system. The situation radically began to change with the beginning of Russian aggression in 2014, when NATO partners increased military aid, including regarding training in training center both in Ukraine and abroad. Instructors from the United States of America, Lithuania, Germany, Poland, and many other countries helped to significantly raise the sergeant and soldiers training quality, as well as junior officers. The situation was somewhat different with senior officers. For example, approaches to the training of senior officers at the National Defense University of Ukraine, named after Ivan Chernyakhovsky, changed significantly only in 2020. The reason for this was the first visit of officers of the Lithuanian Military Academy, without the great command and staff course. Thanks them for that, which took place in 2017. Then a joint exercise was held with Ukrainian and Lithuanian students in Kyiv. Later, there was a visit of Ukrainian delegation to the Baltic Defense College to Vilnius in 2018 and 19, a number of international command and staff exercises, etc. Thus, since 2020, the educational programs at the university have been revised, and we have somewhat brought our educational standards for the training of battalion and brigade level officers closer to NATO standards. I believe that the previous work showed a positive effect on the battlefield during the war against Russia. Of course, this work continued today. Despite the war, we are improving our approaches to training specialists at all levels, and the entire civilized world is helping us in this. Thank you for everything. Thank you for your support. Finally, in my report, I touched only on some aspects that, in my opinion, have a decisive influence on the outcome of military operations. The development of tactics and operational art directly depends on the weapons that the army has, and the effectiveness of the use of these weapons, as well as the skillful use of theoretical provision of military science on the battlefield, is directly proportional to level of training of military specialists. If one of the components of this chain is weak, the chain can crumble at the most critical moment, and the entire structure can fly into abyss. I finished my speech, my report. Thank you for your attention, and sorry for my English.